Okay, hi, it's Mucker671 here. This is hopefully a fairly short instruction sort of show and tell really on FPV Freerider Recharged. The Android version played on the Nvidia Shield TV. I'm using a trackpad and keyboard. Trackpad and mouse is really more preferable really. It's a little bit clunky as you'll see in a minute basically, but I can go over very briefly a few things. Like I say, Nvidia Shield TV, you have to have a mouse or trackpad and keyboard for that, as it's not a touch screen device basically, but on the tablet versions, mobile phone versions, obviously it's touchscreen, so you don't need a keyboard. There is a Windows version of FPV Freerider as well, recharged, I think. It's got a lot more going for it really. I think bigger maps, bigger builds, bigger everything really, I think. But this only cost about £4. I made a video only earlier today and posted that, showing all the tracks basically very quickly, a quick flyover of every single track, and also 3 tracks I think from my level edited side of things. I will fly the 3 again quickly towards the end of this video, but first of all really, it's all dependent graphics wise. Let's start with that on the device obviously that you're running the game on, or simulator, whatever you want to call it. So I have it on high. It seems to work very well, high and high. A little bit of frame rate drop, but occasionally, but it seems to work okay on the Shield. But you'll have to sort of play around with that yourself. Now, really, I suppose let's go straight into it, I suppose. So let's click into level editor. In fact, do you know what I might do? Let me, it's quite quick, let's just come straight out of there. There we go, and I'll show you something that's quite good actually. So let's pick a building. So let's pick Bando 1. I explained this very quite quickly in my last video, that you can, so there we go. So there you go, I'm playing the game, okay. Well, maybe not very well at the moment there, but playing the game. Here's the map. So there's your sort of buildings and stuff that you can sort of fly around. A pre-made map from the developers, quite a big area. Like, you can take all the trees away, lower all the land, higher all the land. Anything you think you can do, you can basically do in this track editor. It's absolutely amazing. So for instance, this little lump here, well, you could have made that sort of that high if you wanted to, pretty much, and you could drill a huge great big hole straight down the middle of it like a volcano, and then drill holes through the sides of the volcano as such, so that as if you're flying through a volcano. I'll show you that in a second. So anyway, this is a prefabricated map already, so what you can do is click on level editor here, and what it will do, it will take a copy of this map, put it into level editor, and basically there it is, you see, and there's your objects. So let me go through the the quick choices you have. Obviously that closes it. This is a quick thing just to show you the controls for different devices. So this is for keyboard and mouse. Seems to work very well. There's quick buttons for things like changing the flight mode is L, and if you want to zoom in on something that's far away when you're editing, like a tree over there, you'd click on that tree and you zoom in on it like that basically to save you dragging and moving around. So there's quick settings there. This is where you pick your levels from, so the levels you've designed basically. You can save them from here, so if I've designed this level here, I'll just save it. You can load from there and play from there, that sort of thing. This is where you find all your objects, so where you'd place your drone at the start. I never place it there first of all. I always build my map first, then place the drone last before you save. You can't save without placing a start position, so and you can change which way the drone faces afterwards anyway, so that's not a problem. So build your map first and then place your drone where you think you want it. Otherwise you'll end up putting a tree over the top of it or something, and then you can't grab it to delete it and replace it. So basically there's your objectives. This is the terrain. So I mean, you can, at the beginning it will offer you a black screen basically, and it'll say down here terrain. Let me pop. Yeah, it'll say terrain, and you'll pick. There'll be a slider actually here, and it'll be like different coloured shades of grass, and it goes into concrete and all different types of materials to use as your base area, sort of thing. And the second thing is it will say once you've done that is which sky would you like. So you could change the sky if you like to that, for instance, or dark. I've made a map I'll show you later, which is quite cool in the dark. But I tend to like that really. I think it tends to sort of show up a little bit more of the things that are harder to see. But for things like terrain sizing, so now I'm going to press 9 on the keyboard here, and it should send me straight up. And if I press Shift again at the same time, it makes it a lot quicker. So there we go. Right, so we've got a little blue dot. We're on terrain. Okay, now we're on terrain. So we've done objects. I'll run through them very quickly, what they are in a bit. But first of all, we'll stick with terrain. So you can basically the size you want. So if I whack this up, can you see the blue there? That's the area that's under your cursor that you want to sort of resize. Now if I resize it here, it'll actually swallow up those trees. I mean, it doesn't really matter, it's not a problem. So what I'm going to do, now basically because I'm looking down on the keyboard, number 9 and number 3 is normally up and down when you're looking dead straight ahead, but when you're looking down it's the opposite, so it becomes the back arrow and forwards arrow becomes the up and down. So I'm pushing back now, believe it or not, it's going up and down. So now 9 and 3 become backwards and forwards. So to speed it up, you press Shift like that. So find a little patch that you like. I like to sort of drag the screen a little bit like that so you can see. And so basically what you have here is raise and lower. So it's already pretty much at ground level, so there's no point really lowering anything. You only use that really when you've built some land that's quite high. So it's on raise at the moment. The amount you want to raise it, so let's put it up to, like you can see it's happening in the background already. There you go. I could have picked this spot. In fact, let me undo that. That's another tip. What you want to be doing is looking at the sky just for terrain. You don't use the terrain much, but when you do, ideally you don't want this cursor over the ground, because instantly it turns blue, which sort of activates it basically. So when you're using these sliders for different effects, it actually keeps doing it, sort of thing. So if you can get it in the sky as much as possible, it's just a sort of bug really, I think. But so there's my sizes. I've got it on rise, so I hold down my left trigger, left button, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down as long as you like. Now that size, you see, is for the width, and the amount, if I put that to full, it would have gone up a lot higher, and if I put size up, it would have gone up a lot. It would have gone out a lot wider as such. So you straighten up your view by holding the right hand mouse button, press 9, so you go straight up. I'm just pushing forwards a little bit, believe it or not, on the forwards arrow, and in theory it should almost be below me. Well, not quite, but so now I need to press 9 to go forwards, believe it or not. We're over the top of a hole or whatever you a mound or whatever you want to call it. Let's go back a bit. So now I've got the same size, you see, the blue's the same size. So if I was to, I could almost do another one next to it if I wanted to, basically. But obviously you can change all these sizes and things. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it into lower, I think. So, and I'm going to change the size so that I can make it like a cavern. Here we go. That's quite a good size, I think. Maybe just a bit smaller. Now the amount that will, if you leave it as it is and hold your finger on the button, as you're building it, it will be the same amount as you put up. So in other words, it will bring it back to ground level, basically, this hole that I'm just about to drill. So I'm going to hold, the longer you hold your thumb on, the deeper it drills, and it'll only drill as deep as you've set in the amount here. So in theory, if this goes to plan, I hold my finger on it. In fact, now hold on, sorry, lower, hold my finger on it, there we go. There, we're at ground level now. Now believe it or not, that's quite a big cavern there, and from this point you can do things like stick trees in. Don't forget, you can make it as big or as small as you like, really. And so let's go, if I press forwards and shift, look, There we go. It's quite a deep hole. I could set my start position right there if I wanted to, you see. I'm just going to click onto objects now so it doesn't change the shape by accident. So I've swallowed up a tree. You can see it's quite a long way. Okay, the graphics are a bit funny because it's been stretched, but still, you get the idea. And of course, the same goes for let me do so. It's 3 and shift for going fast, and so that's backwards and down. So now if I want to drill a hole, for instance, through the center of it, in fact you can do all sorts. You can, I'll show you, here we go, it's unbelievable. So I'm going to make a much smaller hole. Let's see, now so I'm going to lower, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. The longer you hold it, there you go, we've got a gap there. I could actually, if I go right the way through, don't forget if I'm looking down, you can draw things as well, but we'll bring it to roughly, I've still got my finger on the button, that'll be about right. Now I'm going to press 9 and shift. There you go, you'll see the mess I've made. It's not very good, but it's only a quick, like I say, a quick description. There you go. So that's that. Also, the really good thing I like about it, I think is at some point I'm going to make some crazy tracks. So I'm going to put it onto terrain again, and the size is going to go right down. Now it's just built something by accident because I'm looking at it. This is this glitch I'm talking about, where I'm putting the cursor over any of these buttons here. If you initiate with a click, it will start it. So if it does that, you've got the undo button just the once. There, I saw the background move. I'm going to redo. I don't know if you saw that. Probably not. It's very slight. So, but right. So now I'm still on lower. So now I've made it very small. This hole. Okay, it's a bit too small to be honest with you. Let's try that. Okay. So there we go. Now I'm going to hold my finger on this, and it should go down. It should go straight down to ground level. Well, once I've actually clicked on lowered, I think you need to do it each time. Yes, there you go. But as you can see, you can actually draw almost like burning in with a laser. But the faster you move it, the shallower the hole. The slower you move it, you see it's going to go right to the base of the actual mound itself, like that. So now there's a big cut through that you could go in and race around, do what you like, put some gates in there, all sorts. So there you go. That's the basics there on the ground. Now putting in objects and things, let's show you some objects as well. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly undo everything. In theory, there's quite a few things to undo. There we go. So I've undone everything. That was quite easy. So if you wanted to, let's say, don't forget this is a prefabricated map that's already been built from the base, sort of the base game. You know, you don't need to really do anything. Like I say, you can fly straight away. But say you don't like that wall, here we go. Yes, so you've got enlarge, so you can resize things. You can turn things on their axes, all 3 axes, and this is for moving around. And these arrows are relevant as into if I hold down my left trigger, my left button, I can drag it away. It's self-explanatory that, so just undo. If I click on resize, then click on it, that will make it shorter. That'll make it thinner. Just undo those. And moving around, and also the turning things on the axis, so you can turn it whichever way you like, really, like that. And also once you've turned it on an axis, you can also sort of move it where you want to, basically. Now a very quick tip for this is it's very camera dependent. Now I'm just pressing undo, trying to anyway. It's very here we go, there we go. The positioning, you've got to be quite clever with the positioning. So when you pick an object, if I was to go down now, too far, there we go. If I was to go down now, if you get, I don't know if you can see, there's a blue here. That blue coincides with this blue arrow, but it gives you the opportunity to move it in a slightly more varied direction rather than 90 degrees to everything else, but you can't see the green one, so it's unusable. So what you do now, if you see, you can see the green one. So you have to make sure that when you're moving things around that you're sort of at 45 degrees a little bit sometimes, just in certain times. It doesn't happen with trees and certain other objects because you can't really turn a tree on its side, so all you can really do is spin it around. So that's that. So you've got, like I say, you've got your resize, your access control, your movement, and also here we go. One other thing, another little tip for you. Let's bring it round. Let's bring it round to the front a bit more. There we go. Let's say you've got a lot of things to do of the same thing. So you're building a building, and it's going to repeat a lot of things. So that pillar there, that pillar there, that pillar there. So let's go into construction objects. The first thing you do before you put anything in, doesn't matter what size it is, get into the habit of doing this before you start adding objects. Hit resize, because certain objects are going to be tiny when they appear and you drag them in, and when you drag them in, and if you're at this distance you can't see them, so you have to do a lot of moving around, and your best bet is you're not going to use it as a standard size anyway 90% of the time, so your best bet is have it on resize before you drag out whatever it is you're going to drag out. Okay, so let's try something. So let's drag out, let's just do a concrete pillar. So I'm dragging out a concrete pillar. There's the pillar. Obviously at the moment it's on its side. You can put it wherever you like. I mean, literally anywhere you like. So let's have it sticking out of there. Now it's asking me to resize it. Well, concrete pillar, big thing, don't really need to. I can see it quite well. So I'm going to click on it and drag it out of that sort of block. So then here comes the camera movement bit. This is where you need a mouse, and it's very, very awkward with the trackpad, like I say. So now you can drag it into the pillar type thing like that. Let's click off of it onto something else, and that should then show up a little bit more. So there we go. So you can have lots of those if you like. If you, like I say, if you're copying lots of different things, you can literally copy. So if I go to here, here's a pillar. So which one's clone? It is, that's right, it's clone. So let's say you want to clone these pillars, you want to put another couple of pillars in. So what you do, whatever happens, first thing you do is have it on move if you're going to clone anything, which you will be on that anyway probably. So that, have it on movement, you click on a pillar, then you press clone, click on the pillar, hold the red button, and you get a clone of it, and it's in exactly the same angle, positioning and everything for you, so you don't have to sort of drag something out of here, then drag it across and try and get it all into the positions. It would take you days to make something like this, whereas with cloning, you know, it sort of halves the time. So I mean, you can clone again, and let's just pick that one for instance. There's the blue, drag it across. Oh, it didn't clone that time, that was my fault. Clone, there you go, there's another clone of one. Look, there we go. Slightly off angle that because I moved it just after I when I made the mistake of cloning it, so that was my fault making it come out of line like that. But like I say, you can build big things very quickly, like tall towers, you know, floor upon floor upon floor, that sort of thing. So there's your construction materials. I'll just go through them quickly. If you want to pause, you're more than welcome. There we go, planks, wood, all sorts of different things. There's pull out corrugated sheet. There's a corrugated sheet. Let's quickly resize it. So let's make it a bit bigger. You can make it, well, you can do all sorts of it, make it wider, longer, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to get rid of an object as well, so let's say we carry on doing something and you think, oh, I don't like where that is, click on it, bottom right gets rid of it. Alright, the find, I haven't really used. That's the zoom in button again, so let's say, oh, I like that tree over there, I want to turn it around or move it a bit. You click on it, it zooms straight in onto it, so there's your shortcut for muck, instead of having to muck around the map like this to get back to where you were, like that. So right, here we go. Let me click on there, close this one up, go into basic shapes. This is your basic shapes. I quite like this. This is quite a good one, this one. So I'm on resize because this box comes out like a box, tiny, and I'm a long way away, like I say. So it's on there basically. It's on resize. So click on it, drag it out. That's not too bad. There's your box, and it's on resize already, so this is where it gets as silly as you like. I mean, you can go as big as you really want to. I mean, it's just, you know, it's really much, it's totally up to you what you do really on with stuff like that. I've set up a funny little course with lots of pillars jutting out sideways so that I can do my 3D round them with another box on top. So if I wanted to put another box on top, for instance, I drag it across. I'm on resize because watch what happens when I let go. If there we go, click off. That's all you got to see. Sometimes you can't even see that to find it to be able to do anything with. So as long as the resize is there, you can always make it bigger so you can see it. You have to move this across sometimes just to line it up. Doesn't always go from straight in the middle, but that did. So there you go. There's that. Let's go down and press Shift. And that's the creation. You can obviously stick anything on the side of it. Trees you can stick on top, you can't stick them on the sides of anything. So they're basic shapes. Cylinders quite good. You can make some big sort of drop throughs, some big places to drop through with your drones. The trees, there's lots of different types of trees and certain grasses and things like that. These 3 grasses here are great for filling out sort of areas that look a bit bleak, a bit barren. Lots of different trees. My favourite trees are conifer really, I think. There are other trees, I'm not sure which one. The bushes are great, but then you can't sort of bomb them or anything like that. You can't dive bomb them and find the gaps so well. They're quite sort of in your face. But pick your own trees, go through them all, check them all out. I'll stick one on now. Let's stick this one here. So I'm on resize, as you can see. I might need to, yes, I need to come up a bit, I think. So let's do that. Hopefully this will work. It might not even put a tree on top of here, to be honest. Let's try. Oh, right, undo. Try again. Let's see if it will pick a tree. Yeah, no, okay. I've not actually tried a tree or anything, so let's try something different anyway. So there's your choice of trees. Just there, like I say, there's quite a few bushes, grasses, that sort of thing. There's your vegetation. So what I'm going to do is go 3 and shift, 3 and shift, and then I'm going to quickly zoom in a little bit. It's the same sort of idea again. So they're your basic shapes, your vegetation. You've got your rocks, we'll come back to that in a second. You've got props, things like benches, gates, barrels. I like the concrete pipes, they're pretty cool. Now remember, resize, because I think these come, I'm not sure, but I think these come out quite small. Not too bad, but you can see what I mean. There we go, it's a method to my madness. So now that's pretty cool. Well, if you can do a few of those, copy a few of those, I've got a map pre-made that goes up 3-4 times the height of this. Now about 3 times the height, 3 times the height of this, with a huge great drop in like that, and it splits off in both directions like that with smaller pipes, and really tricky but good fun, you know. So let's undo that, and of course you can change the axis. You can spin it round, have it wherever you like. You can have it in mid-air with nothing holding it up if you like. It doesn't really matter. It could just be sort of hovering, you know. So it's props. You've got your gates. This is for racing, so you can put these all over the place. You know, you could put one up here if you wanted. There we go, somewhere like that. I've got it. Let's do a 180 on it. So let's click on it, and then you can spin it around like that, and you can decide which way you want the to be able to fly through the gates. If you're doing races, that you can put on gate triggers, so you'd put a gate trigger there. These are the gate triggers here. So you could drag a gate trigger out. This is a prefabricated map, that's why these are here, so I'm just showing you very quickly. But a blank map, obviously you'd be able to put, you won't have all these triggers here, but you can, it shows you basically which way you're allowed to go through the gate for it to actually initiate you. So with it bright like that means you'd have to come down, through, under, and then out. This one's telling you you've got to go around, over it, past it, and back through it like that. So it's really cool. It really works very well, I think. Gates and triggers, we've done that, haven't we? Yeah. Oh, you can change the colour of all sorts of different things as well. So, excuse me. lots of different things you can change the colour of, you know, things that you, not like trees and things, but graffiti colours and all sorts of other bits. But these are all your gates. You get quite a few gates actually, so excuse me, 30 gates. So that's, you can do, you know, you can spin it off around here, you can use the whole map, you don't have to sort of stick it to one area. Excuse me, I don't do racing much, so I'm more into my freestyle. Decoration is fairly interesting. You need a bit of a decent device really for using these things. They tend to be a bit RAM heavy on the Nvidia Shield TV for me anyway. So if the self builds I've got here, the self built maps, there's one that's in pitch black, pretty much, and so I've sort of put some lights down, and they're tiny little lights, but it's just enough for ambience. Really effective, really like that. That seems to work okay, but as soon as I add water to it, it becomes a bit tricky, to say the least. If you expand the water, you know, make it bigger. Obviously, you can't twist it around in circles, but you can drag it around, make it put it wherever you want. I don't know if you saw that it sort of changes and flickers. That's due to the that's just due to the surface height of the actual land. As you can see, there's a lump there, so water doesn't go against gravity, so it wouldn't exist there basically. So you can only see it in the low spots basically, which is really, really accurate. I quite like that. You know, it's nice that they've done that. I think I might be able to zoom in on the water very quickly. So if I lay some down quickly again, let's go like, let's have something like that. Right, let's try zooming down on it a tad. It's already, the machine's struggling a little bit. Can you see the frame rate? That's just by putting in that water. It just doesn't like it. For me, for the Nvidia Shield, it's a bit much for it, but you don't need it. And when you get close up to it, it's actually pretty cool, and especially when you're flying around, it looks pretty cool. I'm quite impressed with that. But I've used it, like I say, but only with very, very small sort of puddles, really, you know, that sort of thing. Graffiti, well, that's self-explanatory. You just sort of drag it out, make sure you're on resize. This graffiti shows up in the dark as well, which is pretty cool. So obviously the resize is a bit big, so you want it to come down a bit. Then you would click on it, get onto the access, and then stick it around like that. It's a bit glitchy like that, so the reason is, I think, is probably because it's buried inside the wall a bit. No, just me, I think, that's all. Yeah, no, that's okay. So you've got your graffitis. Now these LED strips are great. I've used it for the night map. You can also use it for marking dark areas. You know, obviously entrances to race tracks, that type of thing. Anything you like, really. Towards very shortly, I'll be getting onto the fly, and then I'll show you the actual dark map that I've used the LEDs on. In fact, do you know, there's not much else I can show you, I don't think, really, on the track building side of things. Just remember to always have the resize on whenever you're dragging an object. Just get in the habit of it, whether the object's big or small, it doesn't matter. Just get into the habit, because when you do drop that small object, you end up frustrated, you know. So so what I'll do now, very quickly, I'll just fly through. I'll give you 3 examples of what I've built. This is what I missed out at the start. This is your terrain. So you've got base textures. There you go, quite a few base textures there. In fact, there's loads. I mean, this game costs £4, you know, so you can do everything as well with the physics of the game in the settings as well. But I've been through that before on a previous video. So let's say you like, let's go for that. So you click on it, create terrain, bosh down there, okay. Then you automatically get suggested what sort of sky you like, you know, your dark, your whatever, that type of thing. So there's your terrain, like that. So I'm going to go to level now anyway. I'm going to load it. Once you finish building a level, I must say, once you finish building a level, let's say this is your finished level. We've got nothing here to show, but it doesn't matter. You pick how you want it to look, how high up you want to be, so how low. So if you want a nice low ground shot and you've got a big building up there, something like that, then you just render it like that, and that will be the picture saved. So you'd go into save as, and I'd put in number 6 and save basically, but I'm not going to do that because I would like to load. So I'll start with the dark. This is my pitch black, well, fairly close to pitch black. Now I've probably lost the sound on the drone, but that's okay. You might find there's a bit of sound problems as well. For the last couple of videos I've had problems with my audio lagging just behind what's happening on the actual screen. I do apologise if that's happened, I really do. I'm trying to fix it, but it's hard to get any info from Nvidia on it really. It's a bit of a sticking point, but hey ho. So this is my night map. Like this, I'll just keep it nice and smooth for you for the moment. Let's have a little looky. It's basically the base map, my favourite map actually, base map that you get, which I've edited like I showed you at the start, where you go and you just press track edit on a base map that you're playing, and go into it and change it, and this is what I've done, and this is what I've ended up with basically. I know adding these lights and these things really do seem to be quite RAM heavy really, for me, for my machine anyway. So it's, well, I can't do that and talk, so that's one of the maps there. Let me just zoom off here just to show you the effects of the lighting. I think it's pretty cool really, you know. I do like that. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. So that's that map. So let's go to another map. Show you one other. I'll probably show you one other one, maybe one other after that. So go to level, go to load. I can show you the same map again, but this is in the daylight, and it also shows a little bit of the track editing side of things, which is another really good tip of copying a pre-built map already. Is this map, for instance, this roof here was completely covered pretty much in bits, really hard to get through and do drop-ins. There was a bar in the way there in front of me, there was another 2 bars in the way in front of me here, there was a bush overhanging this hole here. It was just a real pain. I kept hitting things and I really couldn't sort of, you know, it was a bit too busy for sort of freestyling it, really, I would say. But I ended up that wasn't good. I ended up cleaning it up, and this is basically what I've ended up with. So it's a much cleaner sort of thing. There's drop-ins now down here. Look, you've got drop-ins here. There's a drop-in down here somewhere. Missed it, but that one there. So I cleaned it up quite nicely, really. This tower I've extended because originally it only came up to the top of this roundabout, about the top of there I think, and I've extended it to there, so just makes it a bit nicer to do things like, you know, fly-ins, or at least try to. And I'll try to get through the gap, but yeah, so there you go, that's that one. I'm getting carried away. Right, I'll show you one other one. So a very good tip is, like I say, is to track edit a pre-made map and then just clean it up or make it how you like, you know, make it twice the size. This is one I did from scratch fairly early on. I'll only give a very quick overview of this. So this is one of the maps there that I've made. It's a bit mad, I know, but yeah, so you got these tubes, as you can see, they're pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with this drop-in. It's one of my favourite bits, really, to be honest with you. It's a little bit floaty actually. I don't know what the settings are on here, but it's a bit amateurish, not being funny or anything, but it's not quite what I'm used to. But yeah, so yeah, you can do your 3D, like I say on here. You can build maps to whatever size you like. These rocks here, for instance, that's actually when you drag in things on track editor, these rocks here on the left, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I suppose 6, 7 rocks there, they come out at about 3 foot large, I think, about 3 foot, but you just resize them, make them huge, and you end up having been able to make big gaps in them, and don't know where that's going, but like that. I did this brick for brick as such, rock for rock. All of these little rocks on the ground here, like these ones, you don't place down separately at all. That just doesn't happen really that very often at all, because it would take you hours to build, well, days probably, if you had to do things like that. So what they do is they offer you a a sort of a big patch you can drag out, which is quite useful, quite handy, I would suggest. It's very good for filling huge gaps, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Oh, there is one other thing actually. Oh, I did mention it on my last video. If I show you very quickly, let's see if this will work. It should do. If I press record, this is quite cool. I like this. You've obviously got your 3D modes, by the way, up here, different modes of flight. You click on those and it changes from like self-leveling, acro mode, which is your standard mode, and 3D mode, which is what I like to fly in, your rates. You've got a field of view, so you can pop the drone out and actually fly it sort of, what's the word? Like this, in reality type of thing. So, da, 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 so that's for you. So yeah, a bit of a tip. Oh, also you got quick buttons while you're flying. So L will change your flight mode, so instantly on the keyboard, and F will zoom in, if I remember rightly, when you're track editing, would zoom in across the track very quickly instead of having to pick the button at the bottom left-hand corner. So let's say you built a track, a race track or whatever. You got 30 gates, if you remember rightly. You click on recording. So now this is going to be recording my flight. So what I do is I'm just going to fly off really slowly, so when I get to see the repeat of it, I don't, you'll be able to see the actual drone properly, that sort of thing. So I'm hovering around a bit, and then I'm going to shoot up here. Okay, I'll just do a quick drop in, or crash in, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, crash in pretty much. Right, so what I'll do now is, in theory, press play. And I should, in theory, be... There I am. That's me there, look. That's what I've just done. Lost me. Like that. So I'm hovering around, doing a bit of whatever I was doing then, a bit of 3D. I'm going to shoot off up here in a second. There I am. I'm going to drop in. I went down in wrong hole, but yes, so as you can see, so you can actually set up a long course, for instance, with lots of gates all over the map, and have like a ghost of yourself, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure that you can save them though. I know you can repeat play them, but I don't think you can actually. Well, I've not looked into it, but I don't think you can repeat play it. But right, okay. I hope I haven't gone on too long, and I hope there isn't. I really do hope there isn't too much lag between the audio and what's on the screen. Basically, like I said, I've been having real problems with it on the Nvidia Shield TV at the moment. But let's just double check everything quickly. I've done everything here. Yeah, the painting I'm not too worried about. The smooth and that sort of thing. You come to that a bit later on, so you pretty much work that one out yourself. It's pretty easy. I'm going to exit this now. Excuse me. So yeah, basically that's it, I think. For now, I'll quickly show you my settings. This is how I'm flying at the moment. That's a quick look at that. Maybe pause it if you fancy flying, anything like that. It's pretty average, fairly heavy drone, not too bad. Decent amount of throttle, low camera angle though for the FPV. Freestyle, fairly wide angle view, angular drag. See all these settings. I mean, I paid £35 for DCL, the game on the Xbox One X. I paid 35 quid for that, and you don't get any of this, which I understand because it's a racing drone game. It's not simulator. It's not a freestyle thing. But I'd really love to be able to change some of this, and I'd absolutely love the game. DCL, the game on Xbox. I would absolutely love it if we could get some settings for that. Maybe in an update at some point in the near future would be great. Yeah, basically that's it really. I'm sorry if I've gone on. Like and subscribe, and ding the bell if you fancy getting some more info. I've got lots of playlists on my channel. Got various Android sims, drone sims. I play a bit of COD, and on COD Mobile, play a bit of a boss on that, playing smart. Also, I've got some wicked Battlefield tank trick shots it's about 4 years ago, but 5 years old now, I think. More than welcome to have a look at my playlist, and channel's Mucker671. yeah, I hope I've helped and haven't gone on too long. Obviously not a professional YouTuber, but thank you very much if you're still listening. I do appreciate it, and I really, really hope it helps, because that's the only reason why I do this, is just to help people. That's all. So great, and thank you very much.